Sometimes the world just needs a hero to help cut through all the noise.
Well, now you have two.
Good morning, good evening, and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Heroes of Noise. I am your host, Steve.
I am the other 50% of the show. Greetings, everyone. My name is Dan. What is cracking?
G, I think you're more than 50% of the show, G.
Oh, I appreciate that, but it's 50-50 all the way down, man.
I really do.
In my opinion.
Hey, question.
What's up?
You're going to WonderCon, brother.
I am.
This is a random
This
is a random subject. What panels are gonna be there this year?
That's the thing is I have no clue, dude. You don't really know what's going to be on the panel until about maybe a week beforehand. And it won't say like it's going to be this TV show or, it's going to be like Warner Brothers or Sony or something like that. It's like the guessing game. And I seriously don't think it's going to happen because Marvel tends to not show up there a lot. But it would be pretty awesome if they did a little Black Panther. Oh, you know what? It wouldn't be Black Panther, actually, because that's in February. It would be Infinity Wars. That would be even better.
And that would be legit. Does Marvel not dig WonderCon? What's the deal?
Because Marvel's owned by Disney, they tend to show up at that D23 convention that they have, which is a straight Disney convention.
That's right, dude.
I'm not even sure if they made it to Comic-Con last year. Kind of thinking that they didn't. So Disney might just be going like, all mine.
Oh, but they can. Once they own everything, we are screwed.
It's just going to be that D23 convention from now on.
What's the difference between WonderCon and Comic-Con?
I've always said that WonderCon is kind of like a small Comic-Con. But it's just, I've never been to Comic-Con, so I can't tell you. It's
I didn't
just
know
as fun.
that.
No, I've been trying every year. But WonderCon's still very accessible, and it's a good time. I'll probably film some of the stuff from the panels that we are allowed to film and put it up on the site that we don't have yet, but we'll have by that time, I'm sure. Dude, we need a site. Like, we have to get off our asses right now. We should just have like a slight business meeting while we're doing the show. We need a site. We have to stop being lazy bastards.
You have been talking about this for I don't know how long, G.
Well, that's what I wanted to tell you, man, as I looked on the WonderCon site because I was trying to get a press pass.
Yes.
Strike one was that the show has to be on for 18 months. So I'm thinking, okay, well, cool. We've got the Word, so we can use the Word to do that.
Boom!
But then it has to be any kind of publications need to be within 6 months. So I'm on that timeline right now of losing that. I would have to do it literally in the next week or so. But then the only other problem is that it asks for, I can't remember the wording of it, but it was like an archive, a personal archive. In other words, click on Dan. Dan Ramirez is blah, 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 blah. And you know what I'm saying? Like a little bio.
Maybe you could use your LinkedIn link.
No, it actually said, it said there was no, what was it? I think it wasn't accepting of social media sites like Tumblr and things like that. I have to look into it. I wish I could call someone and get the information. I'm considering just doing it and then seeing what happens.
Just see what happens, dude. Because they might not be that might be a normal application they just have. And they haven't gone through, people have skipped over nits and bits and stuff like that. But it's just, hey, this is a normal press application. Normal stuff. Because soon, dude, people are not going to have websites. That is just not going to be a thing.
How do you figure?
Guaranteed.
How do you figure?
Because what's the point of a personal website when Twitter exists? There is no point.
I kind of disagree. What if you're trying to do something like, say, you want to sell shirts, you want to have links to other things, you want to have your like a Patreon site.
Well, the Patreon site is a Patreon site. You just go to the Patreon site of such and such.patreon.
Correct. I understand that. But what I'm saying is if you could have all of that in a one page where you can go to this link, go to this link, that just seems to me more feasible than going on Twitter and having to find all these various links and then go to different sites when you can kind of do a one-stop shop based off of a web page.
True.
That's just how I feel about it.
But I'm saying as time goes on, less and less people will have websites.
You could be right.
Because they're just like, because I don't go to people's, I'd rather see what they're saying in real time.
As would I.
When's the last time you went to someone's personal website?
I couldn't tell you.
I don't. But I think the big thing is, like, here's what I know. If someone has 100,000 followers on Twitter, they're not going to get denied to WonderCon. It's just not going to happen.
We're about 100,000 short of that, homie. So we'll.
True, but that's what I'm saying. Like,
do.
That's not going to be the barrier of entry.
Steve, I look forward to like looking at these shows in a couple years and seeing what we've done, where we're virtually going, "Hello, is anybody there?"
Echo. Like I said, you already know. I say what now we're at 14 months is what I mean, because I remember when I first started, I wanted to wait 18 months to see of our growth. So I'm at 14-month mark. You know, that's where people start, worst case scenario, word of mouth. People hear it on Twitter. People, it gets around. So it's I say 18 months, now 16 months. And then I'll say, okay, now where are we?
Listen to how adorable we are. These little dreams and aspirations that we have. We'll see what happens, man.
His brother Dan. I wish y'all could hear Dan on a normal day about the podcast. I won't divulge this information, but I wish y'all could freaking hear Dan, man. He gives a lot for this podcast. And when I say a lot, I mean sweat equity and passion and stress. He stresses about this podcast sometimes. And if y'all could see it, y'all would understand how much this dude cares. Not that I don't, but he really cares.
Basically, I'm psycho is really what it is. I'm type A, OCD, and psycho. Yeah. It's true. It's okay. I'll be the first to admit it.
He's serious about like this stuff. I'm serious about it too. He's the numbers guy, and he's big on numbers. So when we get numbers, he's going to be floating in heaven.
It really does kind of give me a tickle, you guys. So you know what? Maybe I should just throw that out real quick. Should I get the contact info out of the way? I know you didn't cue me, but
knock it out.
What the hell?
Hit it up.
Hi, everyone. This is your buddy Dan from the Heroes of Noise, along with my buddy Steve, and we've got some information for you. If you would like to contact the show, you can reach us at heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. Again, that's heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. And then we got the Twitters that we go into every week. This one that I'm going to give you right now is for the show, and it is at Heroes of Noise. Very simple. For myself, it's at Dan Q Public, and my buddy Steve is at SE_Hudson Music. We've got this voicemail that we're dying for you to use, so I might as well give that to you now too. Area code 559-492-9831. Give us a call, say hi, and don't forget, folks, if you subscribe to the show, you should definitely subscribe. If we had our way, we'd ask you to subscribe on iTunes or Stitcher, where you can leave reviews. Let me explain the review thing real quick. I'll break it down very quickly, and then we'll move along. These reviews help us get noticed, guys. They get us on the radar of iTunes and Stitcher, and they allow more people to see us. It makes it easier for when you search. We pop up quicker. Let's say we're down on the sixth tier. You're punching in Heroes, and you've got all these other hero shows, which I really don't know how many there are. The more that you give us reviews and we get our ratings up like that, we just start climbing that tier. And hopefully one of these days we'll end up in a new and noteworthy. Who knows? I don't think we'll be new anymore, but maybe we'll still be noteworthy. So we would really appreciate this, guys. Steve, anything to comment on that before we move along?
Ladies and gentlemen, here's my thoughts on the situation. We love y'all so very much, and I know y'all love us. So just put it in word form. That's all we ask. Make Dan happy. Make his 2018. Give us some reviews. That's all.
I like that. I agree. Make my 2018 awesome. 2017 was kind of shitty. A little bit shitty, but we're doing better. We're getting better as the end goes on.
I'm not getting... No, dude, I'm not getting... You already know me. Sir, I'm getting excited for the podcast of 2018. World, I don't know. After seeing that polar bear picture on Twitter, I think we're all going to be extinguished fairly soon. That was the saddest thing I've seen in a while. Did you see that picture, G?
No, I didn't.
Jesus, don't look for it. It's a starving polar bear because of global warming.
Yeah, I'm not trying to see that. I feel bad for the big guy, but I don't want to see that. It sucks.
He's just walking. He's barely dragging himself. He's skin and bones. I'm like, why? Kumail Nanjiani had the funniest freaking tweet ever, dude. He said, hold on, I'm sorry. You know who Kumail Nanjiani is?
Of course I do. Big Sick.
Don't act like you know.
I don't know him that well, actually, but I know the Big Sick. Great movie.
This dude said, quote, "I want to eternal sunshine that picture of my starving poor bear out of my brain."
You know what's messed up about those pictures, man? Somebody took that picture.
And they actually have a talk about it. These people they said they were taking this video crying, and they said this is what global warming looks like. And they were just crying behind the camera, sobbing, Because like, this is what this looks like.
Do you think those people threw him
This
some food?
is the picture. No, you can't. I mean, you can, but that means he's just one of how many?
That's true. You don't really want to piss off you don't want to get a starving polar bear excited.
He wouldn't have been able to chase anybody, G.
Yeah, but if he got you,
he
got you though.
I don't know, man.
I don't play. I saw The Revenant, bro.
If you saw this picture, G, holy cow, dude. It looked like me in a bear suit crawling. It was just hanging on him.
I just want to see that now. I got to get to Photoshop and make that happen.
Dude. Okay, I'm going to ask you, G. Were you not dying at all the Terrence Howard memes?
All the main memes? Yeah.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
Where did that stem from? It was really funny. I spent like a good 20 minutes just laughing going through those.
Gee, just because that's what he said. He said it in Hustle and Flow,
of course.
But he also said it in Dead Presidents. But someone was finally being like you'd always hear people say, like when he was, what was he in Iron Man? He was,
Are you talking about Rhodey?
Yes, and they'd be like, I want to be Iron Man, and they'd like make fun of it, and finally people just started doing memes about.
I saw one that was Frozen. Do you want to build a snowman?
So good. Did you see the one of them was like he did Bane, and he was just like he said something about I want to hurt Batman, man, and it said quote by Bane, like Bane with the Y. That is so, dude.
He had a BVS one. It's like, do you bleed, man?
Gee, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys really want to have a laugh, if you know what this is referring to, please look those up. It's
really funny.
I don't know why they don't hashtag them.
I was wondering the same thing.
You have to just be in a circle. You have to be in the certain circle to see these Twitter memes. And if you're not in that circle, I don't know if it's getting out. Like I wonder if, like, since we just talked about them, do you think Kumail Nanjiani's circle has seen these memes?
I think those things are out there pretty well now. Like the way I found it was just multiple hits on my timeline. And I was like, well, let me just,
right?
So I just went to search and typed in Maine, and there was like 300 and something that popped up.
Oh my God. I never thought of doing that.
I believe it's Mayne if you guys are interested in that. By this time, It's going to be a few days from now, but check it out anyway. It'll be
Is that Photoshop they're using, or is it some iPhone thing?
I think it's a combination of both. You can tell the ones that are Photoshopped and the ones that people just like literally just cut out his head, maybe like cut and pasted it and just put it on over that. Some people put some serious work into these things.
You're going to have to show me how to do that.
You got a Photoshop? I can show you.
I'm sorry, like the thing on the, like if I could do it on like you said, a cut and paste, how you just do a thing on your phone or whatever. Show me.
I don't even know how to do that, man. I mess with Photoshop.
Would that be like a 3-minute job?
For my kid, yeah. It would be easy for you to figure out, I think. My kid uses that. There's a Photoshop app that you can use. I don't know what it is, but you can use it and do things like that.
So your son could be like, hey, if you wanted to make one of those memes, he could make that picture in T-3 seconds.
You know what? I'll be honest with you, bro. I think any 14-year-old could probably figure it out. I just haven't messed with it at all. I just don't have time for the Photoshop app. But I use Photoshop a lot at home.
Well, there is something that you do have a little bit of time for, Dan.
What's that?
That's television. What have you been watching?
Oh, your segues. You're adorable. Keep calling you adorable. I don't know what it is, man. You're just adorable buddy of mine.
I try, G. I'm trying to do this thing, man.
I'm trying to do this, man. You speak up in this microphone real quick, man.
Gee, that is so I don't know why didn't someone think of that before? Everyone knows he does that, and no one has done it until. It's so funny, man. I'm stop. But anyway, what you been watching, homie?
You know what? Not a lot, but I have a lot to talk about the ones I do have. I had to wrap up the Orville, of course. It was a season finale, and it ended great. I love the show so much. I know you haven't watched it yet, though, right?
No, I'm going to, but I don't want to. I'll say this. The network on which I'm using Hulu, I don't want to overrun the network because I know there are other users trying to use the network.
Fair enough. You're using someone else's account.
Jesus! I need to put on my tinfoil hat and hide now.
Big Brother will be watching you from this point on.
But you know what's funny? I've heard nothing but good things about Orville. I haven't heard, except from critics that I normally don't listen to anyway, I really haven't heard anything bad about them.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I'm just ignoring critics in general. I mean,
to,
I guess in theory we're sort of being critics if we like something or don't like something. But I'm talking about the ones I'm ignoring the haters. If it's something that's just like this widespread, it just sucks. Everyone thinks it sucks. I'm going to watch it on my own. In fact, the next show that I'll be talking about, which I'm not quite ready to yet, has a lot of hatred on the IMDb site. You know what? I'm sorry. Let me get to that in just a second. So getting back to the Orville, it capped off very well. I'm very happy that there's actually a season 2 coming out right now. But you just don't understand how smart this show is, Steve. And I think that once you start watching it, you're really going to dig it. I'm not a Star Trek guy. I've told you that before. But it truly is one of my favorite shows out right now. It's addressing current issues in a way that, you know, they mask it with science fiction, a Star Trek-like science fiction. But they're all real issues that are going on. There was one that was very Black Mirror-ish that had to do with acceptance in social society. You know, like it was all about getting... It was all about, like, people would wear these badges and... You know, if you said something to me, Steve, that I didn't like, I would just reach over and touch you on the chest and hit the negative, and you'd start getting negative points. But if you hit like 500,000 dislikes, you can't go into stores.
Oh, that is right out of Black Mirror, huh?
For sure, yeah. It's like that one. I think that was the one with Bryce Howard, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
There's just so many different ones. They had one that had to do with like transgender babies.
Oh, that's interesting.
And yeah, I mean, just a whole bunch, like there's deep shit that's going on here, but they do it in a Seth MacFarlane style. And it's not to that Seth MacFarlane style, like, what is it? A Million Ways to Die in the West, or even Family Guy. It's very smart. It's very well written. And I've watched every single one of them. I think there's like one episode that kind of bored me just a little tiny bit, but not enough to make me turn it off. And I'm putting it down, man. This is one of the finer shows that I've talked about on this podcast so far. So I'm hoping that you get with it soon.
I will try to get with it ASAP. As a matter of fact, I'll start watching it today.
That boy, I like that, man. See, my friend Steve.
I just don't know, man. I think, have you felt a little MacFarlane backlash for some random reason? And I'm not sure why. Are people MacFarlaned out?
I can tell you that when this show came out, I was kind of like, oh man, another one. I don't know what I'm going to like about it. Because I, you know, Ted was great. Ted 2, you know, Million Ways to Die in the West.
I like that movie. I like that movie, dude. I'm I know people hated it. But I stopped them. I was like, I liked it. I thought it was really fun.
I didn't dislike it. It just didn't really pop for me. It wasn't one that I'd go out and recommend.
I mean, and also for me, anything with Giovanni Ribisi, I'm going to watch.
Yeah, Ribisi's great. He's great. And he's like got him under his wing. He's like how Adam Sandler has some of those other actors that he always has in all of his movies. Ribisi's kind of chilling with... I'm surprised he didn't show up on the Orville, actually.
That's what I was about to say. He didn't show up on the Orville. Oh, because he's making Sneaky Pete.
Oh, just scheduling conflicts, probably.
That's such a good show, too. But yeah, I really want to get... Because I don't think Adrian... Like, that Wonder Woman show, that was jacked up what happened to her. And so, I mean, and I loved her in Friday Night Lights, one of my favorite shows of all time. And so I really want to see what Adrian Pilecki does on this show.
Adrian Pilecki's great on it, by the way. This last one had everything to do with her character.
She's adorable.
And they even have a lot of celebrities that come on this show that you wouldn't expect that are just dropping cameos. Like Charlize Theron was on.
Oh,
excuse me.
Oh, that makes sense.
I know it's Theron. I said Theron, but yeah, Charlize Theron. Ralph Garman was on recently. Rob Lowe's been on. I think once you get into it and just kind of figure out the groove of the Orville, I think you're really going to dig it.
And you know what? I think I found out maybe this is what it is. People inherently don't like someone who's just good at a lot of things. He can sing. Yeah. He can act, he can write, he can draw, he can do voices.
He could probably be a stand-up comedian if he wanted to.
He's smart. Remember, he put his neck on the line for Neil deGrasse Tyson's show. He said, I'll fund it.
Oh, you're talking about, I just blanked on the name.
So did I. That's why I said Neil deGrasse Tyson's show.
What the hell's that show called, man? Cosmos.
There he goes. I mean, he really wanted people to be smart, and he's very... I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, he's had problematic things in the past where he puts things like on Family Guy that would not serve. That today, you couldn't do it. However, so did The Simpsons, you know, that whole Apu situation is kind of starting to blow up now. You saw the show on True TV, right? I think it's called The Problem with Apu. And it's a whole show.
Is it like a documentary type thing?
Yes, it's a, there it is. I was right. The Problem with Apu. It's talking about, they talk to Indian actors who had to live with being made fun of at school with Apu. Like, how did this affect you? Did everyone talk? He's like, yeah, everybody would walk up and talk to me like that. It's the person that's hosting it is Hari Kondabolu. Have you heard of him?
I have not.
Yeah, he has a show. He has a podcast with dude, what is wrong with me today?
I'm sorry I got you high before this, man. I apologize.
Dude, I am so sorry because Hari he has a show with Brother Man.
Guys, I put Steve on the volcano vaporizer, so he's incredibly high. So please bear with him. It's his first time ever, but we'll get there. He's going to end up being funny.
I know but I think that this is what is his name? Anyway, he has a show.
For the record, Steve's not really high. Sorry, guys.
What is his name? The black dude with a bunch of hair. He has a show on CNN. Damn it.
Oh, that guy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
You know, do you really know?
The black dude with the hair? Of course, man. I mean,
You're killing me right now, G.
Hey, have you ever heard of that one white girl that says "you guys" a lot?
No.
That's the one I'm talking about right now.
You're a cold-blooded cat, G. Oh, W. Kamau Bell. Jesus, that's his name. So he has
Who was it? I didn't hear it in your excitement. What was it?
Kamau Bell.
Okay.
So they have a podcast together talking about politics. But yeah, this apparently Apu, I mean, it really was problematic in people's lives, dude. Like people would just walk up and assume that that's what Indian people talked like. And so they have a whole a documentary about it's called The Problem with Apu.
I do recall that when The Simpsons came out and Apu became like a pretty popular character, that there were a lot of people, pardon the accent I'm doing, but a lot of like, thank you, come again, that kind of stuff. You would hear that a lot. I think that definitely contributed to it.
Oh, no question. And that's why I say, when people, if we talk about Seth MacFarlane's issues, we got to talk about The Simpsons. And I don't think that that's a thing that people really want to talk about.
But I'm surprised that show's been on as long as it has. Dude, and not really.
It hasn't suffered any back. Exactly. But, all that being said, I think that it might be a situation of people are just MacFarlaned out. Like, when's the last time you were like, I haven't heard much from Seth MacFarlane for a while? When has that happened?
Probably right before this show. But I'm telling you, man, he's back with a vengeance. He has found his niche since
I will be watching it, for sure. I'll watch it tonight and give you an update, brother.
And watch at least 2 or 3 of them. So that way you can get the feel for it. Because the first one's always like... For instance, when everyone started talking about the pilot, a lot of people were saying that it's not going to last and it just seems kind of like it's not funny. It doesn't know what it wants to be. But the way that the humor is kind of woven in there and it's not in the forefront. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's just real. It's like real people doing, of course, you've got robots and aliens and things like that. But it's just real life situations with humor in the background a little bit. Very subtle, but super funny.
I think I'm going to watch probably, you already know me. When I sit down to watch something, I'm going to watch it. So I'm probably going to watch a good 4 or 5 episodes and check it out. And I will definitely be texting you throughout.
I think that most people are getting this show now. And it took a little while to find their groove. But they're there now. And season 2's I expect to be even better. So can't wait.
Done deal.
The next thing that I want to talk about is another, I don't want to say controversial, but like I was saying, if you look on IMDb and you go to like user reviews and you start, right from jump, just reading those, you're going to see a bunch of 1s and a bunch of 2s and this sucks and all that. And it all has to do with the pilot. And I really think that most people that were doing that, can't speak for all of them, of course, but I think that a lot of people that were doing that were just very partial to the original show. And what I'm talking about is Young Sheldon. Nobody else is stronger than I am. Yesterday I I used to watch Big Bang Theory all the time. Like with my kids, it was a show that we had on all the time. And it just, for whatever reason, it just sort of ran its course for me. And I just didn't find it interesting anymore. Obviously, lots of people do. It's still on. But it wasn't my thing anymore. But I've always liked Sheldon Cooper and I've always liked Jim Parsons.
Okay.
So when this show came out, I had to at least check it out. You know, considering that we have a podcast where we have to talk about new shit all the time, it's worth checking out, you know? So I checked it and I really liked it instantaneously. But I kept it quiet because of all the negative reviews. But what I wanted to see is if time would actually prove that this show had legs. And I totally think it does, Steve. Did you like The Wonder Years? Was that something that you watched?
I loved the Wonder Years. I loved it.
So did I. And what I liked about it was that feeling of, you know, nostalgia. And I loved the narration on top of it. It's just a show that, it's like a feel-good show.
Yes.
It's like comfort food. You know what I mean? This show is that. I feel like it's a better Wonder Years. And I know that's a bold statement to make. I know, and someone's probably like, that's blasphemy. But I really like this. The kid that plays young Sheldon, and I have a hard time saying his name. It's like, it's spelled I-A-I-N. So I guess it's Ian? Or maybe it's just Ian with a freaking A in jacket. Yeah. With another I in there or something, but it's I'm calling him Ian. Ian Armitage. This kid is great. You're gonna just fall in love with this kid instantly. Way smart. He's like a genius. 9-year-old that goes into high school. You know, the show's obviously revolved around him. But honestly, the person that I like the most on the show is Zoe Perry. Zoe Perry plays Mary Cooper, his mom. She's just the glue in the family. Outside of Sheldon, of course, they give her most of the best lines. But this show is completely revolved around family. It's set in Texas. It's got Annie Potts.
Oh yeah,
who plays his Mima. Annie Potts, that was from Ghostbusters.
Yes.
She's great. She's hilarious on this show. The cast is rounded out by Montana Jordan, who plays Georgie, his brother, and Reagan Revford, who plays Missy, his twin sister. These kids are great as well. There's another kid named Tam on there that plays his only friend. He's played by Ryan Fong, I believe it is. And then his dad is Lance Barber. He looks really familiar to me, and I'm trying to figure out where this guy came from. But Zoe Perry, getting back to her, she's been on Grey's Anatomy. She's been on Private Practice, Law and Order. You've seen her before. Lance Barber, he's been on Blackish, Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You have seen this guy before. If you were to look him up right now, you'd be like, oh yeah, I know who that guy is, Steve.
Looking at him now, I have never seen him before.
You call me a liar?
Who's the girl? You said her name is Zoe. What's her name?
Zoe Perry.
Zoe Perry. I'm looking up. I'm probably she sounds familiar.
NCIS. She's been on The Family.
Oh, I know her dad, Jeff Perry. He's from he's on Scandal.
Oh, okay. I
learned
learned something.
I didn't know that was his daughter, but I've never seen Zoe Perry before though.
I was actually looking on Twitter, just seeing what people were saying about that. And yeah, it's kind of unanimous that she's one of the favorites on the show.
Okay.
But this show is like the perfect family show. I sit down, I watch it with my wife and my daughter, and it's just something that we could all get into. But again, to me, it's like comfort food, man. It's that narration. Jim Parsons does the narration as the older Sheldon talking about his youth, and it just works. And I'm hoping that they renew this. I think they have like another 4 episodes left, maybe 5. But so far, it just keeps getting better and better to me. And I watch a lot of TV, as you know, just as you do. This is one of those shows that I just keep coming back to. Like, I'm actually waiting to see this one. I'm glad they're not throwing it on like Hulu where you just binge it all out real quick and forget about it until the next season. I'm enjoying the anticipation. That's like a good gauge for me if I like a show or not. If I'm really thinking about it throughout the week, you know, like there's no like brain teasers in this. There's no mysteries to solve. There's nothing like that keeps you thinking about it throughout the week. It's just the family dialogue that they have and the situations they get in. It's nice. It's cute. I like it. And I recommend that all of you watch it. I think you'll very much like it.
I will definitely be checking it out. And that is on what channel?
That is on CBS, actually.
Cool. Done deal. Anything you rave about, I want to give it a shot.
So I've kind of like, talked about these briefly, but the one that I really wanted to talk about was something that I actually just got finished watching before we started recording. And it's on Hulu as well. It's called Obey Giant. It's a documentary about a street artist named Shepard Fairey. Do you have any familiarity with Shepard Fairey?
I do. I know the Obama poster. I mean, that was the Hope poster was the seminal Obama poster.
It's basically about the career of Shepard Fairey, and he starts off as this street artist skater from the punk scene in South Carolina. He was actually featured, by the way, in Exit Through the Gift Shop, another great documentary that was directed by Banksy and also Terry Guetta, who shows up in this one as well. But yeah, he's the creator of the Obama Hope posters. The thing that got him on the map, though, was It was called the Andre the Giant Has a Posse sticker. It's weird, man. I remember these back in the 90s. I remember seeing these everywhere, posted in like San Francisco. A matter of fact, I have like 2 or 3 of them in my I have like the shoebox that's just full of stickers I've collected over the years from concerts and whatnot. But yeah, he somehow came through California as well, and he put these everywhere. So I have some of them. It's really weird to find this on Hulu later and, oh shit, I have one of those. But it all simply started off, he was a skater, he worked in a skate shop, he grew up on punk rock, and he was a very talented artist. So all this just came about because somebody wanted to know how to make the stickers he was making. He says, I'll show you how to make a stencil. So he just goes to the newspaper and he pulls out this picture of Andre the Giant. It was almost like, that'll work, that kind of a thing. And he mocked it up and he made like a sticker of it, and it just kind of blew up from there. They started putting them all over town, and it started getting on people's attention. He was at a gig one time and he saw this, there was a party or something like that, and he saw a dude that had one on his hat with like paint chips around it. So he clearly had pulled it off of something. He's like, hey man, where'd you get that? He's like, I don't even know what it means. I don't know if it's a band or something. I just thought it was dope looking, so I put it on my hat. And so he knew that something was happening. So this became like this big movement because no one really knew what the hell it was about. They show him, back in the day, putting up these posters on the walls, and people were like, what's all that about? Oh, it's Andre the Giant. People didn't know if it was a band. They didn't know if it was a cult. They had no idea. But it just kept growing and growing. And eventually he started like driving across, I think, like I say, he's from South Carolina. So I think the first time he went to Boston on this beat up car, and he put stickers up the whole way to Boston. The next time it took him to New York. By the time that he got to New York, he was already getting so much attention that it started, it was becoming a bigger thing, and he was getting approached by different artists to like work with him, put him in shows. Have you ever seen the Obey design, Steve?
I have seen that. Yes. It wasn't as popular. I didn't see it as much as everyone else saw it, but I did see it. Yeah, not as much as the Obama sticker though.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a couple of shirts of it. It's an old design, but it went from the original just picture stencil of Andre the Giant. His estate got involved. And they're like, hey, that's kind of copyright infringement, so you can't be making money off of this kind of thing. So what he did was he revised it, and he like cropped it, and he just put a lot more shading into it to where it really was still a likeness of Andre the Giant, but he made it his own, is what I'm getting at. And that blew up. It was like the star design, and that's when you started seeing it on T-shirts, and it just really became a huge thing. So that star design actually became, the Obey design that everyone sees today. That's still in stores. What it was inspired from. Do you remember the movie They Live with Rowdy Roddy Piper?
Yes, I do. Of course.
Seems like a movie that you would have totally watched.
Oh, totally, because with the sunglasses, and you can see the skeletons.
Exactly.
Totally.
Yes. So it became kind of like a Big Brother is watching you kind of thing. So kind of keep your eyes open. That was like the mission, if you will, or the message behind that. Big Brother's watching, and they were just putting these things up everywhere. The more popular a street artist gets is by what they do and how like far out they'll go to make these things happen, how high they'll climb a building to make something happen, that kind of thing, how much exposure you can get. So this just kept going and going and going. And, it just shows his progression in his career and where this takes him. So this documentary goes from that and takes us to the Bush administration. And this is when he started this campaign called the New World Order. He was doing a lot of more bombing, in the neighborhoods, and he got the attention of a couple of other artists by the name of Robbie Canal and a guy named Mir. And they started this whole movement of collaborations where they were doing these anti-Bush posters. And they plastered these things like all over the LA area, and it really kept him on the map. He continued this campaign throughout the entire Bush administration. And then, but he started talking about what he didn't like about the Bush administration and how he wanted to see change, and it just so happens that this is around 2008 when this up and coming senator by the name of Barack Obama was starting to make a name for himself. And he like instantly fell in love with Barack. He just, like a lot of us did, he got it. He actually reached out to the Obama campaign and told them like, hey, I'd like to make a poster for you guys for your campaign. They were like, that's great. Go for it. Do that. But keep it grassroots. We don't really want to be behind it because it shows that if it's not something that we're putting out, it shows that the public is buying into this Obama thing, and it's going to spread, and spread is what it did. You know what? I'm actually going to stop and hold off right there because I'm realizing I'm just giving you like the whole freaking documentary. That's how much I liked it. I just found it that interesting. 90 minutes, and it just had me the whole way through. Super interesting documentary. I hope I didn't give too many spoilers, but I found it very, very interesting. And I think this is going to be something that you really like, Steve. So please check it out, man.
For sure, man. And that's on what channel? That's on what?
That is on Hulu. That's on Hulu. It just came out probably like I think 2 months ago or something like that. So check it out. And that, my friend, is pretty much all that I've really been into this week. Been a long work week.
I see that.
What about yourself?
So I watched a movie called The Belko Experiment.
Ah, yes, The Belko Experiment. Much like Mayhem.
Yes. And
or similar to Mayhem.
It, look, I knew all the issues going in. I knew all this, starring John Gallagher. And I like him. He's one of the main reasons that I actually, I watched this movie. Because I liked him ever since I used to see him in the newsroom. I was like, who is this young cat? And I thought that he was really, really good. But I wish they wouldn't have told me what the synopsis was. That would have been awesome. If I just didn't know what was going to happen. I see how it benefits from not knowing what in the world is going on. Because I was just waiting for the ball to drop. All these things were happening in the beginning, and I was waiting for the ball to drop. So if you don't know what the Belko Experiment is, I don't even want to ruin it for you, really. I would suggest you not knowing as much as possible, but watch the movie. It's a really fun, I wouldn't call it a thriller necessarily, but I would call it a suspenseful, it's more of a suspense. And you're going to have to suspend your disbelief because some of the stuff you'll be like, I would never do that. Like, you would never do this situation. But let's just say these people get an offer to work in a business in Colombia, in a building. Mm-hmm. They hear an overhead voice tell them that they have to do something. Otherwise, this person's going to start killing people. And I will leave it at that. Watch the movie.
And so begins craziness, huh?
It's insanity. Now, the movie stars Tony Goodwin, too. Anyone that knows Tony Goldwyn, he's in Scandal. We just talked about it. My boy from Walking Dead, Michael Rooker. He's in it. He's great. But the dude that I just love also is John C. McGinley. If you watch Scrubs, this guy is he's the dude.
He always is the dude in his movies.
He's always so good. So I don't want to, this is one of those that I'm just going to throw out a quick nibble. Just watch the movie. Try not to watch a trailer. Check it out. See where it goes. And it ends on a really fun note. It's not one of those where it's just, I'm not a mysterious ending person. I like an ending that's solid. It leaves just enough to your imagination where it's just like, oh, that was really cool. So Belko Experiment, you'll really like it. Belko, starring John Gallagher, Tony Goldwyn, Michael Rooker, and John C. McGinley. Check it out.
90 minutes, totally worth it. I recommend watching that too, guys.
It's totally fun. Another thing I ended up watching, which was fun, this was not in my arena of things I normally would watch, is a little show called Big Little Lies. So Big Little Lies follows the lives of 5 women in Monterey, California. Now, I haven't seen a show based in Monterey, California. And being that I went to boarding school in Monterey, a lot of these sites, I'm like, oh my God, I know where that is. So it stars Nicole Kidman, Reese Witherspoon, Shailene Woodley, Laura Dern, Zoe Kravitz, and Alexander Skarsgård. Zoe Kravitz really does it. She's really a knockout in this movie. She does a really great job. She kills it. Nicole Kidman, I hadn't seen her for a while, and so it was really fun to see her. But what this does is, in the beginning, it shows you what happens at the end. There is someone dies. We all know that now because you hear see the police, you see them getting interviewed, different people in the town. But then it goes to the beginning and it shows where all these people meet. And it interspersed throughout the show. It shows different interviews with the cops. And you're wondering the whole show, who died? Like, what happened as time goes forward? And so they'll show a dramatic situation where someone gets in an argument and you're like, that's the person that dies for sure because she probably killed him. Nope. It takes a switcheroo. And you're like, okay, well then wait. Well then who? And the whole time you're wondering who died, and the interaction between these women and how they're dealing with it. Like Shailene Woodley plays a person that she's not of the rich crowd. She just happened to come into this town wanting to give her son a better life. And she gets under the wing of Reese Witherspoon, who is kind of the person who is rich, She's a rich girl too, but she understands how it is to be struggling. So she kind of pulls her up because everybody else is kind of looking at this new girl like, why are you even here? You don't even belong in this circle. But Reese is like, no. I run things, and her daughter is like Miss Popular in the school. So if it's not so much how good Reese Witherspoon is, everyone wants to go everywhere. If her daughter doesn't go to parties, no one goes to parties. So the moms kiss up to Reese Witherspoon because if your daughter doesn't come, no one else will come because your daughter's Miss Popular. It's a really fun jaunt. It's only 7 episodes. It ends. Now, they did say recently that they're going to go ahead and make a season 2, which I don't know why. It was a really good, solid ending to this. I thought it was good, but when you have critical acclaim, you start being like, well, what can we do? Well, let's make another one. So
how far can we take it?
Exactly. I thought it really ended solidly. If you start it, you're not going to stop. You're not going to want to leave.
So does that mean that it's kind of like they might be going down the way of like, say, Fargo, where it's like a series that gets wrapped up and then they're going to have a new story?
I think it's going to be a story wrapped in these people, though. It's the same people. It's not going to be it's going to be the same people, and they're going to try to figure out where, not to ruin it, figure out, maybe go into the past of one of the other characters. Because you really did dissect a lot of these people's past, but not a few of them kind of were on a sideline until the end. So it's really good. Alexander Skarsgård does a fantastic job playing a guy that in public you think is totally put together, but you would hate him personally. When you see what he does in his personal life, you're like, oh, he's a creeper. He's such a bad guy. But in public, because he's like normal. He may not be a great husband, but a great businessman, so they really balance that really well. So if you get a chance, it's on HBO. It's called Big Little Lies. 7 episodes. You'll dig it. Check it out.
I'm looking at the cast right now, and I'm surprised. Like Adam Scott, that's always a win when you got Adam Scott in. Oh, my goodness.
The thing is, the only reason I didn't mention his name is because I wanted people, when you see it, you're going to sit there and be watching, and all of a sudden, Reese Witherspoon's husband comes in. You're like, oh, my God. It's Adam Scott. It was a shock.
Sorry to ruin that.
No. Don't worry about it, dude. It's always fun for me to be surprised by Adam Scott, and I might be the only one. But when I see him, it uplifts the show.
I dig Adam Scott so much. I love freaking Ghosted. I like anything he's in, man. I really do. He's just great.
He's not Adam Scott in this show. He is a totally different person. And it's fun to see him branch out to something else.
They actually have that Ian Armitage kid from Young Sheldon's in it as well. He plays Ziggy Chapman.
He's Ziggy?
Yeah, he's Ziggy.
Ziggy's a massive part of this show.
Is this kid good in that as well?
He's really good. I'm very curious about Young Sheldon because the kid that he plays in this is interesting.
I'm telling you, this kid can act his ass off. He's great. So now I want to see it just for him. I also noticed Laura Dern's in it as well.
She's so good.
You got a pretty massive cast going on here. Laura Dern going to be in the Last Jedi coming out next week. It's
a beast of a cast. And it's like, wow, this is going to be... Well, again, when you start watching it, Laura Dern, man. And even Nicole Kidman. Reese Witherspoon is fantastic. But she is not called to do anything wild. Whereas Laura Dern and Nicole Kidman are made to be like, you're going to need super acting chops. They have to use their acting chops. Reese Witherspoon in this part isn't called to do anything over the top. But these two, oh, it's so good. And then seeing the different interviews with, interspersed, like the cops interviews, like you'll see the 2 girls make up. 2 of the women will make up. And they'll show an interview with the cops. And she's like, and we all thought that everything was fine. And then it'll go to a man during the interview. He's like, I knew nothing was fine. Women are incapable of forgiving each other. And it was like, you see the town people all giving different outlooks on this story as it's going. And you're still wondering like, well, who died? What happened? The whole time. And at the end, you're like, oh my God, it is ill.
I'm so into this kid, man, this Ian Armitage. I want to see what he can do in this show versus, compared to what he's doing on Young Sheldon. He's awesome.
He plays Shailene Woodley's son.
I assume the show doesn't, revolve around him, but I don't know. This kid's on my radar right now.
It kind of does.
Oh, okay, cool. Even better.
It kind of does. It's the drama that happens when we're at school what happens with imagine being a stay-at-home mother, having your circle of friends and vying for that power of the town. Monterey's a small town. Who holds the key? Who can make things happen? If I throw a party, who doesn't come and why didn't they? That whole dynamic. And so it's really good.
All right, so what you got next, man?
Hey, man. The last thing I watched was a movie called Hired Guns. It's a documentary.
Ooh, I saw this on Netflix, man. I have not watched it yet, but tell me about it, please.
What Hired Guns is, when you hear songs on the radio, you know that someone has to play those songs. You're assuming that, oh no, it's the band. Not necessarily. If you need someone to kill a drum part or destroy a guitar part, you hire session musicians. So they can come in there, knock it out, destroy it, and then the band goes on often and plays them live.
This is even more interesting now because my very good friend Mike, who may be on the show very soon talking about some Star Wars with us, his brother's he does that. He's a session musician.
Oh,
so he's
well, there
worked
we go.
for like the Black Crows, and
Yes.
I can't remember who else he told me, but yeah. So that's the kind of thing that they're talking about, like session musicians.
Totally,
Nice.
totally.
Okay.
And so they're going in and they sit there and it's pretty much a life talk about what session musician means. What does it mean to be a session musician? And many people, including like Jan. There's a Jason Hook, Kenny Aronoff, who's a drummer, Liberty DeVito, who's Billy Joel's drummer he was Billy Joel's drummer for over 30 years. And they talk about what does it mean to go in there and knock out the part? What does this mean? Like, does it mean that you just go in there and try to be the star? They're like, no, it's weird. A very important segment talks about Steve Lukather or Lukather, whichever one you want to say. He's the guitarist for Toto. And he was saying how at one point, he looked at the top 30 or the top 100. He said, I was playing on the top 30 of those the tracks. I was playing. No one knew this, but I was playing. He said, I played all the parts on Beat It, including the bass. I played all the guitar parts, but you don't see it.
Hold up. Did you just say Beat It?
That's him.
But he played the bass or the guitar?
Bass and the guitar. Van Halen did the solo. He did all the other parts.
Okay, gotcha.
That's him. And he's like, but you don't see my name. And he said the hard thing was, when I look at a review, one of the reviews said, finally Quincy Jones was able to make Toto play something that wasn't horrible. That was the review he got for Thriller.
Damn.
He said, that's what you have to do. It is like, it's just so funny. We don't get any of the love, but we are often the ones that do it. One of the guitar
That's
players.
cold-blooded, man.
It's cold. One of the guitar players, he's just a monster session musician. People knew that if you played on this, he said, if whether you liked your group or not, if you played on a Steely Dan record, they knew you were a beast, right? Because whether you liked Steely Dan or not, their sessions
Super
were very
talented.
super talented people. And so a guy got a call. And Steely Dan was like, we can't nail this guitar part. We need you to do it was on a song you probably know called Peg. He's like, we need a guitar solo for this song. And so they're like, okay, his name was Jay Graydon. And if you look up Jay Graydon, he's been on everything. And he's like, okay, tell you what, do one shot through. He's like, one shot through? He's like, yeah. So he goes up there, he's like, think blues. And they're like, oh, he said, Jay Graydon was like, okay. So he does the part and he said, all right, or they said, okay, thanks. He leaves. He's thinking in his head, okay, well, I hope I get it, because he thinks there's going to be 18 people coming in after him anyway, doing their shot at this. He's like, one day I'm sitting there listening to the record and there I am. That's the life of a session musician. You just don't really know. And they said, you have to be great, because all it takes is one session for you to mess up and everything changes. Another important thing was a guy got hired to go on tour with Mandy Moore. He said, I'm thinking, why Mandy Moore? I'm a rock guitarist. Do I even want to do this? This is silly. People are going to make fun of me. So he goes on tour with Mandy Moore, right? And it leads him into other tours. He says, oh, everything's cool. I'm a session musician or a touring musician now, right? you get this tour and you're doing these things. And so he buys a house. The next day he wakes up to an email saying, hey, we might be going in a different direction. So thank you guys so much for helping with the tour. Goodbye. The end. That's the life of a touring. You just don't know when your next thing is.
Do they mention if they get any type of royalties? Or
They
is
don't
it just
say,
like a flat fee kind of thing?
it's a flat fee for session. You get royalties if you write the song, if you write part of it, if they include you as I was a writer on this song, which is why, because David Foster, the dude who did Bodyguard soundtrack, he produced, I Will Always Love You. I mean, that's huge, right? He produced After the Love Is Gone for Earth, Wind & Fire. That was his first huge hit. David Foster.
What song? I've never heard of that one.
After the
Just
Love
kidding.
Is Gone. Yo,
Just kidding.
Oh, you have me worried. He was looking on the other side of the glass as a session musician. He said, I want to do that thing. That's who I want to be the producer. And so he transfers over to producer, and the first 3 albums were a flop. He's like, so it doesn't matter, if you're a good session musician, you can't be a producer necessarily, but if you're a good producer, you can't be a good it doesn't go both ways. He's like, it's such a tenuous, but he's like, the thing about session musicians is once they kill it once for you, who are you going to call? You're going to call them every single freaking time. Rob Zombie, he has a great quote. He said, there's 3 steps in getting a good session musician. It's so good. He said, number 1, who's a beast? He said, the beast part is easy. He said, look on YouTube. Everyone's amazing, right? Everyone's freaking amazing at playing these amazing chords, right? Step 2 was like, who can do the job? Who fits into the groove that you're trying to do? Who can actually be there, legit, be there, fits into the groove? You're trying to do your thing. Can you fit into the session, right? He said that whittles it down to, there's still a lot of people that can do this. He said, number 3, who can you actually hang out with for most of the day?
Which is crazy important.
Yes, because you're only on stage for how long? An hour and a half? But you're on the bus for 16 hours. He said that whittles it down to maybe 3 people in the whole industry that you can actually hang out with. And like they said, I don't care if you're really good. If you're okay, but I love being around you, I'll hire you because I like being around you. And I could stomach being around you. And so it's just the talk about how a touring musician, how a session musician, you're never sure what your next job is going to be and how do you make a living doing this? You're just a hired gun. We need this. You can do this. Now, one of the guys, he went from doing Mandy Moore, Hillary Duff stuff, and then he went to Alice Cooper. And so he's with Alice Cooper.
Wow. What a stretch.
Yeah, tell me about it. He said, Alice Cooper said, I was sitting there. I took my daughter to a concert and listening to Hillary Duff, whatever. And all of a sudden I hear this dude blazing and he takes out a piece of paper and he's like, okay, who's this guy? And he hired him. And he said, people would probably make fun of Hillary Duff. He said, I didn't even make him audition. He's like, oh, Hillary Duff's guitar player. He's come to play. And Alice Cooper was like, wait till you hear him though. And he destroys, right? And so one day he gets a call from, I've never heard of this group. That's the only way I got to look it up. 5 Finger Death Punch.
Oh yeah. I know 5 Finger Death Punch.
So they're a nothing group. And they said, hey man, we don't.
I would agree with you. Sorry, but that's just me being a metal snob. Go on.
Yeah. They're like, so yeah, we need a guitar player, someone part of our group. And he's like, they said, we can't pay you what Alice Cooper pays you. You're pretty much going to be eating bologna sandwiches. He's like, done, I'll do it. He said, the reason I did it was because I knew I need to be part of something from the ground floor. I've been a session musician. I need to be something from the ground floor so I'm part of a group. No more of this, I can just be fired at any time. So he's like, sure, I'll go with the startup. And Alice Cooper told him, everyone universally says Alice Cooper's one of the best. They just say, he always wants you to do, if Kiss wants to hire you for my tour, go. Live your dream, go. Please. He's such a nice guy in this documentary. He's like,
I've heard that about him too.
He's just so cool. So he goes to 5 Finger Death Punch and He just happens to be the one lock or key that unlocks their popularity. And they're now doing arena shows. He said, I caught the wave, and next thing you know, we're skyrocketing. And I guess they're a big thing now. I don't really know much about them, but they're doing arenas.
Yeah, they've got a big name. So is he a full-time member?
Full-time member. He's one of the main guys.
Okay.
His name is Jason Hook.
It sounds familiar, but I don't really follow Five Fingers, so I like the name though. I always like the name.
Yeah, and so if you're interested at all in what it means to be a session musician, what it means to be a touring musician, I'm not going to ruin anything about the Billy Joel part.
Yeah, don't do that.
Billy Joel's touring musician, that fun thing of how they met up, how they did it, the story of playing with Billy Joel, it's very interesting. And it's not all it's cracked up to be, ladies and gentlemen. Being a touring musician, being the touring headliner is fantastic. It is absolutely amazing. And there is a devastating story about a group called Filter, touring with them. It is a devastating story for touring musicians. So
I've seen Filter before.
Oh, dude, their musician pretty much rips them into, good Lord, man. But the Filter lead singer says, I don't give a crap how they feel. I'm the star. I will pay you what I want. I'm the one. And I'm like, oh, that's why they hate you.
You're referring to Richard Patrick as the singer.
Is that his name?
Yeah, his name's Richard Patrick.
Oh,
and
dude.
Filter's always kind of been like a one-man band thing, much like how Panic at the Disco is now. It's kind of revolving around the singer. Yeah.
And what's that song? Hey, man,
kind of
nice
dick,
shot.
Huh?
That's his.
Yes,
that's what he was. Well, I'm the one. Hey, you can play or you cannot. We get in the group, and then the people are like, it's the worst group to play for. It's the worst group to play for. So it's really fun to hear the backstage stories of people playing. Pink's band talks about playing behind Pink, and apparently how much fun she is to play for. Like, she pretty much says, I want you to bring you to these tours. Who are you? You play like you and follow me. I will let you be who you are on your instrument. And we just come together and make this amazing show. Because we're a family.
I've actually heard that about her, man. I've heard she's really good to all of her band, her band, her touring band, and all of the people, the dancers and everything. I'm actually taking Gail to see her in March, I believe.
People love, and the dope thing is, like, while he's playing the guitar with her, right? She has her hand on his knee while she's singing. And I'm like, as a musician, I know what that is. That's when you're just connected. Like, you're having so much fun on there. We're not in front of a crowd. We're in a room singing, having fun. And that was like, oh, it made me like Pink a little bit more. Ladies and gentlemen, just watch the documentary. I haven't given you really anything. It's an hour and a half. If you ever wondered how it is to be on an album, see that album go to number one, and no one knows who the hell you are. I will give you one name, Ray Parker Jr. He was on 1 million albums. No one knew who he was until he happened to, and I'm not going to tell you what he wrote. Watch the documentary. And he was like, Mama, because this guy used to come home and say, Mama, I'm on this album. And he said this was a quote that made him change everything. His mom would say, baby, I don't see you. And he'd look at the album and be like, damn, you don't see me, do you?
Ouch.
I'm on everything, but you don't see me. I'm playing guitar on all these albums, but you don't see me. So he said, no. I need to be seen. So he I'm not going to tell you how he gets seen, but oh boy, does he get seen. Like, seen. Like, what he got seen for did way more than you or I thought, Dan. When they tell you numbers, it's pretty freaking crazy.
You referring to Ray Parker Jr.?
Yes. When you hear the numbers
you know what I'm stuck on, right?
That what you're thinking did numbers you do not know.
Oh, I can only imagine.
So please, everybody watch Hired Guns. It's really fun. You can watch it on Netflix. Enjoy. And now that you can get Netflix on your Apple TV, come on. Well, not Netflix.
Come on,
Amazon. Now. Go watch. It's on Netflix though. Netflix. Enjoy it. And I would love to hear what you think from all you musicians out there, because I'm going to really start diving into these music documentaries and talk about them more, because I could wax poetic on anything music. So check it out.
You know, you had me, I was going to watch Big Little Lies, but I think I'm going to go ahead and bump that one to number 2 and check this one out tonight.
You're going to love it. I really want to hear what you think about that certain section, the Billy Joel section, because it's a business. Like they said, it's 10% music, 90% business, man. That's it.
You'll know when I'm watching it because I'll start blowing you up a text tonight.
For sure, dude. For sure. But that's it, man. Do we have any news for this week?
You know, the news was a little drier than a pile of dead leaves, man. But there's a few things. Do you have anything to talk about? I've got a couple.
You know what? I have that are interesting after what we've talked about. We've been really interesting, if I do say so myself. I have like 2 things.
It's a biased answer, but you're right. You're totally
interesting
right.
of what we've been talking about. I have maybe 2 things.
Okay. You want me to go first?
Knock it out.
All right, brother. Well, let's talk about some topical stuff because I want to talk about Star Wars, Steve. Just a little bit, all right?
Let's do it, baby.
Have you heard of a movie called Star Wars, Steve?
I'm about to be really versed in Star Wars fairly quickly here, G.
I like it, man. You're cramming. That's awesome.
And you know I'm taking my time.
I'm proud of you, son.
I like it a lot. Except for the new special effects. Anyway, go ahead.
Oh, okay. You've got some opinions. I like that. We'll talk about that in a second.
Yes.
Real quick, I'm going to talk about someone that's been in the news a lot lately, ever since Thor Ragnarok came out. But he's, of course, been around before that. And I am talking about Taika Waititi, director Taika Waititi. Steve, it seems that the Disney camp, the Lucasfilm camp, is actually starting to flirt with him a little bit. They would like him to come over and do something in the Star Wars universe. I'm all for it. I think that he would have been perfect taking over Phil Lord and Chris Miller's when they got fired from Solo Project.
Yes.
I think that would have been perfect because Han Solo's funny, but he's also like an ass kicker too. But it's a moot point. It's not happening. This is coming from Entertainment, i.e. Cinema News. In an interview with New Zealand outlet NewsHub, Lucasfilm chief Kathleen Kennedy declared that she'd, quote, love for him to direct Star Wars movie, unquote. Kennedy doubled down, saying that the director had exactly the right sensibility. It was very exciting to see him step into the Marvel universe and do such an amazing job with Thor. That's pretty much rolling out the red carpet right there, sir.
If Kennedy says that, she holds the key.
She is the gatekeeper.
It's over, dude. It's his no. It's his no to be said.
I'm going to continue reading on here. It says, for his part, Waititi addressed the possibility for directing a Star Wars movie on a couple of occasions, often with somewhat conflicting answers. Around the time of Phil Lord and Chris Miller's exit, Waititi on Twitter no less made a joke about the situation when asked if he'd take on a Star Wars movie. That said, when pushed on topic in an interview with Uprocks, he seemed a bit more realistic about the situation. Quote, look, I'm not an idiot. Who would actually say no to Star Wars? Of course I didn't send the idea very seriously. It's more that in light of all things that were happening over the last couple of months, it would make me a little nervous, said Waititi. I think that's a lot of pressure to take on a Star Wars movie, I would imagine.
And especially since they let people go so quickly. Yes. You're like, do I really want to put my stake in the sand right here?
Yeah, they're very selective, and if they don't like it, you're gone, you know? Says this, however, was contradicted by an earlier statement he made in a New York Times interview when he said that the Star Wars franchise seemed like there was not much room for someone like me. So it doesn't, yeah. So, it's kind of up in the air. I think money talks, and I think that, he's got that Disney connection now. So it's very possible that we could be seeing a Taika Waititi directed movie sometime soon.
Awesome. What else you got?
Another star-related thing here, and this is a big one. We've been talking about this guy a lot lately. I know you already know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to go ahead and break it down for the good folks here. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not a drill. Quentin Tarantino is gearing up to direct a Star Trek movie. What y'all think about that? An R-rated Star Trek movie. Also, I'm kind of excited about this one, man.
Okay, here's the thing, Jay. Okay, it's a thing of beauty how it happened. I heard he just did a mock-up and gave it to J.J. Abrams, and J.J. was so excited that he took it to the heads.
Yeah, he just pitched an idea to him.
Yes, that's crazy. Now, it's going to be amazing. Let me just tell everyone right now. Let me tell you why it's going to be amazing. Because Quentin Tarantino is one of the last few students of the craft. Meaning, if he does a genre, he knows that genre. Because he's a student. He knows, like speaking of musicians, let's just say someone is they're a true musician. Okay, we need you to do jazz. Okay. Well, you can just do, yeah, because I know that style. I know this style. I know that style. He is a student, whereas a lot of people are like, I do sci-fi. Okay, well, then you're a student of sci-fi. Quentin Tarantino is a student of film. If they told him to do a black and white silent film, I am almost sure he could do it.
Oh, he could definitely pull that off.
He could pull it off because he's a student of film. So let's just get that out the way. If you're like, it's going to suck, you're crazy. Because even Quentin's bad movies don't suck. His bad movies that you consider bad is a matter of taste. They don't suck. You know what I'm saying? So
Agreed.
It's going to be good. So let's throw that out. But number two, I don't like this idea only because I think there are up and coming movie directors that need a shot. Quentin doesn't need a shot. There's other people that need a freaking shot. You know? That's all. That's why I don't like it.
I hear what you're saying. I'm still very curious to see it. I think that he would, like you're saying, he's a fan of film. I could see him going more like the retro grainy look of like the original series or something like that.
Yes.
Making it look like that, you know? Let's see what happens, man. Why the hell not? It's definitely sparked my curiosity, to say the least.
Yeah.
And he's not actually going to be writing the movie. Are you aware of that? So it's not even going to really be included in his final 10, was it? 10 movies that he was going to make?
That's true, because he didn't write. And he didn't write Jackie Brown either.
He's actually been meeting with writers Mark L. Smith, Drew Pearce, and Lindsay Beer, and they've been kicking around these ideas. So far, rumor has it that the frontrunner is going to be Smith, and he's the one that wrote The Revenant to do this project. So we'll see, man.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Quentin doesn't like doing other people's source material. That's why he said it was hard for him to direct Jackie Brown. He doesn't like basing his stuff off someone else's source material, so I'm very curious as to why he took this up.
Well, he's probably a huge Star Trek fan, I imagine. Yeah, it was, I'm sorry, I'm going back to it. So it says, actually, I'm getting this, guys, from Ain't It Cool. This is where I found this particular one here because I liked the way this was written, the best out of the ones that I'd seen. But it says, will this affect Quentin's set 10 number of films he has in mind to make? It won't. Quentin Tarantino said that if he made a James Bond or a Star Trek, that would be out of his 10. So we may get 11.
Okay. That's fair.
Yeah,
Cool.
And it is rumored to be rated R, and apparently everyone's on board with that.
Freaking Quentin Tarantino.
Game on, man.
I'm game. Perfectly game. It's going to be great. Don't get me wrong. I just really wish they would start sourcing this out to younger up-and-coming directors or older up-and-coming directors that need a shot. But hey, what are you going to do?
I feel you, brother. That makes perfect sense, too.
What else?
Doesn't take away my excitement for this.
No, not at all. Not at all, dude.
What you got, Steve?
All right, so Matt Reeves is recasting Ben Affleck for the upcoming film, The Batman. This is not a freaking surprise.
No, I'm not surprised.
He really, I don't know if because remember, his being in Batman versus Superman was contingent on him directing Batman. And when he stopped wanting to direct Batman, I'm like, oh, he's not wanting to do this. Because remember, he was going to direct Batman.
I want to know what's going on with that, because it seemed like, the way that he was portraying it, like at Comic-Con, for instance, was that this is what he was meant to do. It's like when you get with someone, a new relationship, and it's just all hardcore, and you're freaking lovey-dovey on Facebook and everything, and then suddenly it just starts to fizzle away a little bit. You know what I mean? And because you can always call bullshit on all those people out there that are like, I love you, babe, on Facebook. You're all fake. You know it. But and I think that, sorry, and I think that it showed, though, in all seriousness. I think that it showed that his enthusiasm was waning for this. So it only makes sense that he's tapping out, I felt it a lot in Justice League. I really did. I just didn't think that I felt like he phoned it in, to be quite honest with you.
It sucks because I thought he was just coming into I thought he was kind of growing into the role, but he's going through, let's just be real. He's going through a few personal things, and maybe he just is like, you know what? I need to chill back. And as soon as people start talking about Jake Gyllenhaal, it's like, oh, here it comes. I think that's
what do you think of that?
I think that Jake can do anything. He's a good actor. So he could do it just fine. I'm wondering why they don't choose an unknown like they did Henry Cavill, even though Cavill had been in a few movies before Superman. I think we know him as Superman. You should get someone that you know as Batman.
It would be kind of great to see somebody that could really knock it out of the park, but you're not used to seeing.
Yes.
You can't associate him as somebody else.
Yeah, you're like, who is that guy? I don't know. All we know now is that he's Batman. That's what we now know. And so when you see him, you know, oh, snap, to the point that you don't even have to say the Batman symbol. If you have a trailer, imagine if there's someone you only know as Batman, and there's a trailer before a movie or at Comic-Con, and it just comes and it just shows him. You're going to go crazy without seeing Batman because you're like, that's Batman. You don't need to see the Batman symbol. You know that guy plays Batman. You're not going to get that. If you show Jake Gyllenhaal, they're going to be like, okay, we're excited, but this could either be this, that, or this.
That's when the controversy starts. All the debating. And
yes.
everything.
You want someone to
Although
be like,
it'd probably be there anyway.
Well, I'm very excited. I think that I'm very excited to what Ben Affleck does next. I mean, everything he's done so far, I've dug. I mean, I even like Jersey Girl.
You were the one, huh?
Yeah, exactly. But Kevin Smith, what are you going to do?
Hey, real quick.
Go for it.
Based on aesthetics alone, just the appearance, and I know you were saying you would rather see someone that's an unknown, take the role. But I was just thinking about this for some reason when you were talking. What would you be opposed to Jon Hamm playing Bruce Wayne?
He has the voice.
He's got the look. He's got the chin. The jaw, rather. I think he could do it. Did you see Baby Driver?
I haven't seen Baby Driver yet.
I thought he was great in Baby Driver. I like Jon Hamm a lot.
Maybe he could.
I'm thinking I'm going to throw his name out there just to get it floating around in the ethos there and see what happens. But Jon Hamm as Batman. What y'all think about that?
What about Keanu Reeves?
No. Absolutely
why not? He can fight legit.
I'm not saying he can't. No. Hey, I mean, someone right now saying no to Jon Hamm, so that's just my opinion. And I like John Wick, I can't.
I know who it is.
I can't see him as Batman. Though.
I know who.
Especially, I can't see him as Bruce Wayne. More specifically, I can't see him as Bruce Wayne. Yeah. Who you got?
The name I'm about to drop, Jay. Are you ready?
I'm so ready.
Armie Hammer. He's
not bad.
He's Batman.
Maybe that's just a rumor, but I thought he was being considered for the role of Green Lantern.
No. He needs to be Batman. He has the voice. In a suit, he looks like Bruce Wayne. It would be perfect. He's a big fella. I can
see him as Hal Jordan.
The problem is he's doing, which is great. I love that they're doing a second Man from U.N.C.L.E., but they're doing a sequel. And so I'm wondering if that's going to, it's going to be weird to see him and Superman if he's Batman and Superman in the Batman movies. They'll be like, wait, he's also Batman and they're Batman and Superman are in Man from U.N.C.L.E. too. So
I'm confused.
Yes, I loved Man from U.N.C.L.E. So I'm glad he's doing that sequel. But I think Armie Hammer would be a great Bruce Wayne Batman.
I can't imagine that the scheduling for actors could get any better.
Dude, that would be the one.
There would be no scheduling conflicts with Superman and Batman.
And they already have a great chemistry because they were great together.
That's pretty good. That's really not bad at all. I was kind of hoping that we see him as Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. I hope that happens, but I'm not opposed to seeing him as Batman. But still, if I had to, go with like a bigger named actor, just off the top of my head, I think Jon Hamm would actually be great.
That would be fine, dude.
Darker.
Who would you feel, Jon Hamm or Armie Hammer more?
I would say Jon Hamm.
That's interesting. I'm going Armie Hammer. We shall see.
I got one for you. A little Batman relation.
Hit me with it.
What about Jeffrey Dean Morgan as an older Batman?
Oh, I don't know, man. He's one of those that are, unfortunately for him, he is the guy from Walking Dead now. You know something?
I was going to say, it has to kind of to do with the whole Negan thing.
He is Negan.
But even as the comedian in Watchmen, he's got that, like, I know something you don't sneer all the time.
Yes.
And that's not Bruce Wayne. No. So yeah, I withdraw that submission.
I don't know people.
But I'm still fully with Jon Hamm.
I don't know if you could lean back that far in the Batman costume.
He must be double jointed or something.
Dude, he is so good as Negan. Anyway, he is so good.
I wouldn't be able to answer any of that because I have not watched one episode of Walking Dead this season.
You're killing me, dude.
As that was killing me. I just couldn't do it. I was just bored out of my freaking mind. Mm-hmm. I'd rather watch old people screw than watch that, to be honest with you.
That is so funny. So this one
says a lot about me too, right?
Now, my issue with this next story is, I know you want to go more lighthearted, but I couldn't avoid it.
What's that?
We all love J.K. Rowling, right?
I am a huge Harry Potter fan, so yes.
You don't like Fantastic Beasts?
It's okay. It's not my favorite. I would take a Harry Potter movie over that every time.
Well, we know that she picked Johnny Depp to be in the new Fantastic Beasts, right? And people kind of got mad because he has a history of being allegedly, there was allegation that he beat Amber Heard. People made a fuss at J.K. Rowling because she is what we consider one of the allies on the right side of history. She's always tweeting things that are good and supportive and all that stuff. And so people were fairly shocked that when the picture came out that Johnny Depp was there, right?
Right.
She pretty much doubled down on it. Quote, she says, "The huge mutually supportive community that has grown up around Harry Potter is one of the greatest joys of my life. For me personally, the inability to speak openly to fans about this issue has been difficult, frustrating, and at times painful. However, the agreements that have been put in place to protect privacy of two people, both of whom have expressed a desire to get on with their lives, must be respected. Based on our understanding of the circumstances, the filmmakers and I are not only comfortable sticking with our original casting, but genuinely happy to have Johnny Depp playing a major character in the role. I accept that there will be those who are not satisfied with our choice of actor in this role. However, conscience isn't governable by committee. Within the fictional world and outside it, we all have to do what we believe is the right thing." I don't know if this is good for her, G. Unquote, by the way. I don't know if this is a good look for her.
I wish that was part of the quote. That would be great.
Gee.
So let me tell you what I feel about Johnny Depp. All right. I think that he is overused right now. I think there's just too much Johnny Depp for me. I am not down with the Pirates of the Caribbean at all. And when I saw him pop up in the other movie, in the Fantastic Beasts, I was like, oh, really? Okay. All right. Great. But at the same time, he is a good actor, and he can pull off some pretty awesome roles sometimes, Mm-hmm. Now I understand I'm staying in the movie making part of it as opposed to the personal part of it. I honestly could take him or leave him in this role. I don't think that, I have no allegiance to this history that's going on here as Grindelwald. I don't really have any allegiance to that. I know I've read a little bit about it in the Harry Potter books, but it's all new. You know what I mean? They're building this as we go. So I don't really have any allegiance to him. But at the same time, and correct me if I'm wrong here, okay? Because I don't want to put my foot in my mouth here and be recorded while doing so. I understand the accusations with, what was her name again? Amber Heard?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah. Now, he was also like an alcoholic too, right?
Affirmative.
So let me ask you a question. Yes, it's bad when someone does something like that. But do you know if he's getting any kind of help for that?
I have no idea.
I would be willing to kind of be forgiving with Johnny Depp if that was the case. If, in fact, he did these things while intoxicated under, being an alcoholic, and then he goes to get treatment to better himself like that. But I know that they're not together anymore. So does she just want the Johnny Depp name to bring more money to this?
That's what I don't
It's kind of a touchy situation. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I don't really... I have no, like I said, I could really give a shit if he was in this movie, but he is a good actor and he does have some shining moments in his career. I mean, let's face it, it's true.
Yes, I think it's a hard thing because if I were to beat my wife, if I were married and I beat her up and I said, "Oh, but I'm an alcoholic," and I got fired from my job, they're not going to be like, "Oh, you're an alcoholic. Never mind. As long as you get help, you can come back." It's just not going to happen. Especially at my job. They're going to be like, "No, we don't need that here. We can't even have that here."
Yeah, if it's a high-profile story or something like that, that's one thing. But again,
this is huge.
You're not
exactly.
Johnny Depp, my brother.
That's what I'm saying. That I think we're in a situation where the executives haven't caught up to America or to the world. They haven't caught up to the world where they're like, "Oh no, he's still a huge thing." No, he's not. He's not as big as you think he is anymore. But they haven't caught up to it. They are out of touch. Whereas if you would have put, who's the new up and comer?
Not necessarily new. How about like Chris Pine or somebody like that?
Let's say Chris or Ryan Gosling. If you throw one of those two up on a poor, even Henry Cavill, let's say, anybody you throw Army Hammer, they're going to be way more excited because they're like, "Oh, I like that guy." You know what I'm saying? You put him up, or you put John Boyega on the front of Fantastic Beasts, what happens? things change all of a sudden for that movie. Everything changes, right? Because he's the new up and comer. But right. I think that they're thinking that these people have more of a pool. And what would you say right now? Who has more of a pool, Johnny Depp or John Boyega?
What do you mean by a pool? Because the way I'm looking at it is you have this huge portfolio of work.
Totally.
This huge body of work that Johnny Depp has done. And, and Boyega is coming up right now.
Yes.
But you can't discredit this body of work either. You know
True.
what I mean? I mean, it's not, put it this way. I think that if you were just to throw the name out to random households and be like, John Boyega or Johnny Depp, who do you think is going to pop in their mind first?
Depends on who you're asking.
Good point.
The people who pay for movies, I'm going Boyega. I
would tend to think that Johnny Depp would be more of a household name.
I don't know.
At this point in time. And maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel. I think he's got Edward Scissorhands, even though it sucked, Willy Wonka,
that's our
Pirates,
age.
All that.
That's our age. Fantastic Beasts is directed...
Man.
Fantastic Beasts is directed toward a different age demographic. And that age demographic knows Boyega.
I think that you're a little incorrect in that because I think that Harry Potter is bigger than just maybe I'm wrong, but I'm thinking that you're kind of looking at this as a children's movie. And maybe it is in some aspect, but dude, so many adults are into Harry Potter. They have a fucking world at Universal Studios that are, that it's a huge, huge thing is what I'm getting at. I know you didn't watch the movies, but it's huge.
But it's Fantastic Beasts as huge?
It's trying to be, but
that's
I don't think it'll
exactly.
Ever get there. It's just an extension of something that's huge.
Exactly. And so the fact that it's not as huge means they're trying to get more people to watch it. And they think getting more people to watch it is putting this person on the poster.
I agree with you. 100%. I agree with you.
That's what I'm saying. And I think if you put someone else on that poster, unbeknownst to them, more people would watch it. They think they're putting one of the biggest names in movies. He might be, but he is no longer in the top 20.
He's definitely having a descent, but I think he's still up there. And it's not like my opinion of Johnny Depp. But he's, like I said, again, you throw that name out, everyone knows who Johnny Depp is.
No question.
Boyega's still climbing. Not that we're really comparing, like he even has anything to do with this. I know you were
No.
I
would just use, but name recognition, like if I ask people who Charles Manson is, they'll know, but does that mean that they're going to go see a movie about him? No.
We're going to find out.
We are very soon going to feel, dear Lord, don't get me all. So yes, that is the end of my important news, Jay. What about you?
Let's see. Do I have anything else? Oh yeah, one more for you here. We were talking about it last week, and the whole controversy behind Bohemian Rhapsody and Bryan Singer.
Yeah.
So Bryan Singer has officially been removed from this project, and they have brought in someone else. Do you know who that person is?
I do not.
That person, I'm glad you asked. That person would be Dexter Fletcher. Have you ever heard of Dexter Fletcher? He was his most recent movie that he directed was Eddie the Eagle, which I saw.
I love that movie.
I did too. That was a very, very good movie.
With Hugh Jackman?
Yep, Eddie the Eagle, man. I loved that movie. I thought it was great. If you guys haven't seen it, it's a biopic about a British ski jumper. It was kind of an unusual kid, but he had all the heart in the world, and he took the 1988 Winter Olympics. So check it out. I shouldn't say he took it, but he was the big talk of the 1988 Winter Olympics. Yes. That's a better way of putting it here. So yeah, Bryan Singer, several reasons why he was axed from this movie. He wasn't showing up. There was rumor that he was having, on-set clashes with Rami Malek and throwing things. And so they just got rid of it. They just moved him away. And they brought in Mr. Dexter Fletcher. Mm-hmm. I don't really know that much outside of Eddie the Eagle about his work, but that's a great movie. They're two different types of movies, but I'm not necessarily opposed to this either.
Well, I heard there was only, 2 weeks left of shooting?
Not a lot of shooting left.
Yeah, so that's not bad.
It's still slated for a Christmas Day release next year.
I'm very interested to see how this movie turns out.
They must have a lot more work behind it than they do to get over.
If I knew that I only had 1 to 2 weeks left of shooting, we're finishing this movie.
For sure.
We're finishing. So he's busting a Joss Whedon.
For sure. Absolutely.
So I'm excited.
Maybe I should have talked about this on the last segment, but it's still news. So there's an animated Spider-Man movie that's going to be coming out. And they just released the first trailer from it from Sony Pictures. And have you heard anything about this one?
I have, actually. I follow one of the people that directed it. And or the person that directed it, I believe. He did the special effects. It looked really good. I thought it was I was like, Spider-Man's coming out already? But when I saw it, I was like, oh, it's the anime. And the animation looks crazy.
Almost Pixar-y, if you will.
Kind of, yes. Yeah, I've never seen anything like it. Me personally, I'm not big on animation though.
Was it Bob Persichetti that you were talking about?
I thought it was Peter
Ramsey.
Peter Ramsey, yeah.
Yeah, they're both directing it, I guess. So, but yeah, this one's going to tell the tale of Miles Morales, and I think it's well past time for that to happen. So I'm excited. I watched the preview. It looks really cool.
It looks really good, dude.
And it is going to be in theaters, correct? I'm kind of hoping it's going to be in theaters.
I will watch it in theaters. If it is,
I'll watch
if it's
it regardless.
VOD, I'll watch it regardless. Yeah, I can't wait. I really look forward to this.
I was always looking forward to seeing if they get Donald Glover to play Miles Morales, but I don't think that's going to happen now with Homecoming because he's playing a different character. I think he's actually playing Miles' uncle, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that's interesting.
So
maybe there is going to be a Miles, though.
I believe there's going to be a Miles for sure, but it's just not going to be Donald Glover.
Cool.
We will see.
Dope.
How about that kid that plays Alex on Runaways?
He'd be good, dude.
Not bad, right?
Yeah, he would be. That's actually a really good pull. That would be really good.
That's my submission. That's my submission for the week.
And he's in a Marvel show.
Pass it along. Let's start the movement.
Ooh, he's in a Marvel show.
That's okay. What's wrong with that? They weren't both by Marvel, but we had Chris Evans, who was in Fantastic Four as Human Torch.
True, but it's two different platforms.
Yeah, it's just two different platforms, but we'll see.
Yeah. Unless they're different universes, unless it's different Marvel universes.
Yeah, there you go. And I think the age is appropriate.
Yes. But I think Runaways is in that Marvel universe, though, with Spider-Man. I think he's in the same universe. I think Spider-Man exists in the Runaways universe.
I think money talks, Steve, and we'll see what happens.
I feel you, man. I'll make a few calls.
I want to see this kid be Miles Morales, man. That's what I want.
All right.
More than anything in the world. No, I'm just kidding. I really care. Okay, that's a bit much, I know.
Yes.
Lastly, just a little bit of good news, I guess, if you're into this kind of thing. Steve, I know this is not your band, but I'm kind of proud of these guys. I've always been rooting for them, and they've had a hell of a time just trying to get their career going. Continuing, I should say. And I'm talking about the Stone Temple Pilots. The Stone Temple Pilots, who lost their singer Scott Weiland back in December of 2015 to a heroin overdose, have been struggling to keep this band going forever. Scott Weiland was a great singer, a very great singer. He's one of my favorite singers, actually, but he was just a huge pain in the ass to deal with. Drugs, alcohol, just ruined this man and just ruined him, just wrecked him to the core. He became a skeleton and now he's gone, and so I thought that they were just going to give up, but they actually took on, oddly, they took on Chester Bennington of Linkin Park, who decided to take himself out of everything too recently. So they've just always had this struggle of trying to, like Metallica had the bass player drama, they have the lead singer drama. They have announced that their new singer, Jeff Gutt, will be replacing them. And I was watching a little bit of his, they actually did a gig, I forgot where they did that, but they just did a gig recently and they, showcased a new song and he was playing the old stuff. And true, like the band Journey, this guy, he's more of he sounds like Scott Weiland. So I've yet to hear anything that's really new from him and whether or not he has the chops to continue on with this. But I'm very interested in doing so. In fact, in Sacramento, they're going to be playing at the Ace of Spades sometime in March. And I think that's a really good time for Mike, if you're listening, buy tickets, bro. We're going to come up and we'll see this show. I think it's a good time to come visit. We'll rock out at the old Ace of Spades, and we'll have some drinks and burgers and all that good stuff. It'll be a great time like we did last time. So I'm looking forward to that more so, I think, just so I can go hang out with my buddy Mike. But I am very interested to see what the Stone Temple Pilots sound like now. So I thought I would just pass that on for anyone that was interested.
Dope, man. I thought the news was fantastic today.
Oh, well, thanks, brother. Thank you very much.
I thought that it was going to be, that's a surprise because I was like, oh, this is a slow news week. No, we make slow news week sound dope because that's what we do.
We get over that whole quantity thing and we just hit you with a bunch of quality. That's how we do it over here at the Heroes of Noise.
Okay, when I first met Dan, the one thing that everyone told me, because I heard about it before I met him, and they said, this Dan guy is smart. And everyone kept saying that.
You're so full of shit. Go on, though.
I was like, wait, what? He's like, have you met that smart guy in down the way in the hospital? I'm like, smart guy? Yeah, Dan. I'm like, oh, I haven't met him yet.
Let's not forget handsome, Steve. Let's not forget handsome.
Exactly. And so I'm sitting there walking down the street, be like, hey, the smart guy in the hospital needs to talk to you. And I'm like, who's this smart guy? So today, we're going to test this smart, ladies and gentlemen, in this thing we call Dan's the Man. In Dan's the Man, we challenge you to beat Dan, the man. We're going to have 2 separate subjects right now for this one game. So I'm going to challenge you to see how smart you are, Dan, and if you're smarter than our audience. Are you ready?
I don't think I have a choice, man, but let's do this.
You don't.
Let's do this.
All right. Here is your first topic that you can choose.
Come on, man.
Here's the different topics. You can choose theme 1, a maiden voyage. And these are the Iron Maiden test questions, ladies and gentlemen. Number 2, basal ganglia. And these are logic questions.
I'm intrigued by both, actually.
Theme 3, dangitude and longitude. These are geographical questions, all of which are going to have to be answered in 10 seconds or less. What do you want to do?
I do not really plan on failing too bad today, even if I fail. So we're going to immediately take out longitude and longitude because I suck at geography. Bad.
Well, we're going to save that.
If you bring that up every week, I'm just going to keep pushing it off until you give me like 3
you're
choices
gonna
of
use
longitude
it one
and
day.
longitude.
One day you're going to use that theme because it's just sitting there waiting for you.
Well, let's see. I'm going to take a shot with Maiden Voyage.
Ladies and gentlemen, you choose Maiden Voyage. What we're going to do is we're going to ask a few questions about Iron Maiden, his favorite group. And we're going to see one of his favorite groups. And we're going to see if he can answer them in the time allotted. Are you ready, Dan?
I'm not sure, but let's go for it.
Audience, are you ready? All right.
They say they are, Steve.
All right, here we go. Question number 1. What is the name of Iron Maiden's mascot?
Are you fucking kidding me?
It's Eddie. An easy one. All right, that's an easy one.
You did that on purpose, though.
Of course I did. Of course, it's the first one. Okay.
All right.
Number 2. On what holiday was Iron Maiden formed?
That's a good one. That's some deep trivia right there. Oh, it's timer's going. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm just taking a crack and saying Halloween.
Christmas Day. Good try.
I was gonna say Christmas.
That's why I asked you around this time, but anyway.
No. That's a good one, though.
Okay.
All right. You got me.
What is the name of Iron Maiden's 6th album?
Ooh, I have to count. Hold on.
Yes. I'm going to give you 20 for this one.
Are you including a live album? Is it a live album?
All out. It just says 6th album.
Okay. Well, it's either going to be Live After Death or... I think I'm missing one, but I'm going to go for it anyway. It's either Live After Death or Somewhere in Time.
Bingo. Somewhere in Time, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, boy. Come on now.
Number 4. To what Iron Maiden song do these lyrics belong? And I'm going to give you 15 seconds for this one. We fought him hard. We fought him well. Out on the plains, we gave...
Run to the hills.
Woo-hoo! Ladies and gentlemen.
You got to come correct, brother.
That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, I like that Christmas question, though. You got me on that one.
Hey, I'm trying. And this is the hard one.
What else?
This is the hard one.
All right.
In what year was Power Slave released? 20 seconds.
It's either 84 or 85. I'm going to go 84.
You got it right, ladies and gentlemen. He gets it right, ladies and gentlemen. That's good. 4 out of 5 for your favorite group. That's not bad at all. That is not bad at all.
And honestly, that one was, as you put it, very in the weeds.
That's and it gets worse in there, and it's fun.
Oh,
there's a lot of fun
I imagine
ones.
so.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun ones. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what is your next? You're only going to get 2 out of 3 this time before we move on to the next one. What is going to be your next subject you want to concentrate on? Dangitude and longitude or basal ganglia?
It's going to have to be basal ganglia because I'm telling you I'm going to fail miserably with dangitude and longitude. Maybe not, though. The questions you're asking me, I'm getting pretty well. So let's see.
These are simply logic questions, and you will have 10 seconds.
Oh, logic? I'm done.
No, you're good. No. You're going to. These are easy logic questions. I promise you.
Go ahead.
10 seconds. Here we go. When I was 4 years old, my brother was half my age. Now I'm 18. How old is my brother?
14.
Wrong. He's 16.
Wait, when he was 4? Oh, shit. I just answered too quickly.
Yeah,
you know what? I answered too quickly. And you know what? There was just a video I saw. Someone was doing that question to somebody. And he was like he was doubling the age all the time.
Yep. Good
That was
try.
just bad math.
Good job. You're good.
See, good logic, shitty math, though. I'm terrible at math.
Here we go.
Even in addition. All right, go
Are
for
you
it.
ready for the second one?
Yes, sir.
Here we go. Anna's mother has 3 kids, 2 of whom are named Faith and Natasha. What's the name of her 3rd child?
Anna.
There we go. Got one.
I don't know
Nice.
why it took that long to think about that.
Here we go. Number 3.
All right.
How much dirt is there in a hole that is measured 2 feet by 3 feet by 4 feet?
How much dirt? One more time.
How much dirt is there in a hole that is measured 2 feet by 3 feet by 4 feet?
And you're giving me 10 seconds on these, huh? That's why I'm like trying to like.
I'm going to
really
give you
grasp
15
quickly.
on this one.
How much dirt is there in a hole
That
is measured
2 feet by 3 feet by 4 feet. Time's
Enough
up.
dirt.
What's your answer? Give
enough
up?
dirt? Yeah, I do.
There is no dirt. It is a hole.
In a hole.
So,
That was. Oh my.
so it's cool, dude. We're good. All right.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, Dan. Shame on me for falling for that shit. It's the time pressure
I
and
know.
numbers that
I
are getting
know.
me.
That's what I'm getting you, man.
I guess that's what it's about, though, right?
Yes.
It's all right. Let's talk rock and roll. I can do that really well. All right, what's next?
Dan, some months have 30 days. Some have 31. Which one has 28 days?
February.
No, all of them. All of them have 28 days, Dan.
Oh, you son of a bee. You're a son of a bee, my friend.
All right.
It's the time. See? Okay, this is good, Steve. This is good.
No,
All right. This
all right.
We're going too quick.
You're going to get one more.
Okay.
No, yeah, soak it in. Chill out. I'm going to give you 20 seconds for this one.
All right. Come on.
Is it legal for a man to marry his widow's sister?
Why is this like just looking me right in the face? Going, come on, stupid. Is it legal for a man to marry his widow's sister?
Time's up.
Oh, shit. I'm over here talking it out. But then I guess I don't know because I just talked it out. I'm going to give you the 50-50 shot of yes.
No, he's dead. That would mean he's dead.
Oh, my God. What a fucking dummy I am.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
That's pretty bad. The ones that I've missed so far. How much dirt is in a hole? That's pretty bad. Oh man! All right.
That's okay.
Mr. Logic.
Ladies and gentlemen, he did a great job, but this is going to be the fun part. Because I invented a game just for you.
Man, you're the game master. All right.
This game is a game that I call Before and After, where I'm going to give you 2 different things. You're going to tell me which came first and which came after. You have about 3 different themes. One is movies, music, and people. Which one would you like to do first?
Wow. I'm pretty much good with any of those. Let's go. Let's go movies.
All right. You're going to get 10 seconds per.
2 seconds?
10.
Oh, okay.
Dan, which came first? The Goonies or Aliens?
The Goonies.
Number 1 out the gate. Ladies and gentlemen, he's trying to kill right now. He's trying to make up for his lost time.
You want to know why I know that one?
Why is that?
I think I talked about this before too, because The Goonies was my first movie that I ever kissed a girl.
Oh,
and that
would
movie,
make sense.
it came out when I was in the 7th grade. Yeah, I was kissing girls in the 7th grade.
Killing
goddamn.
it.
I was a
Killing
young
it.
stud.
Killing it.
Young stud. Yeah, so that one's always going to stick out in my head. And then I remember going with some people, and I think it was high school to see Aliens. So that's why I remember that.
I thought that was a good
nice
point.
question.
All right. Dan, what came first? Clerks or True Romance?
I think it was True Romance, G. I think it was
2 out of 2.
No.
2 out of
Okay,
2.
all right. Yeah.
Ladies and
okay,
gentlemen.
so this one why is because I remember seeing True Romance at the the drive-in. And there was no drive. I remember that. Never mind. It's a really
job, Jay.
boring story. I
Oh,
was just
that's
placing
good.
I was mapping the the timeline in my brain is all. So it's not you don't need to hear this shit, people. Let's move on.
The next ones are going to be 20 seconds each.
Okay.
Dan, what came first? The Sandlot or Home Alone?
Home Alone.
Nailed it, brother. 3 out of 3. Here we go.
All right.
Dan, this is your last one for movies. What
Okay.
came first? Nightmare on Elm Street or An American Werewolf in London?
American Werewolf in London.
4 out of 4, ladies and gentlemen. Give this man an applause.
That movie scared the hell out of me as a little kid. That's why I remember that. The whole transformation scene.
Yes, that
scared
was
me.
crazy.
Yeah.
So we're gonna round it out. Which one do you want to do second to last? People or music?
Let's make it interesting. Let's go people.
Dan, who came first? Ryan Gosling or Ryan Reynolds? So who's
You mean like born?
So who's older? Yes.
That's a good question. I would dare to say that it would be Ryan Gosling that's older.
Wrong. Ryan Reynolds is 41. Ryan Gosling is 37.
Okay, all right. Well, they're both good-looking cats that look young,
Totally,
so
Totally.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that loss.
Now, see, this one, all of these are going to be 15 seconds. This one's going to be a little bit more difficult. Who is older? Snoop or Dave Grohl?
Wow, I'm going to go with Dave Grohl.
Dave Grohl by 2 years. Got one out
he's
of
40.
two.
I believe he's 48 years old, right?
And Snoop is 46. Yep.
There we go. All right.
Dan, who's older? Liam Neeson or Kurt Russell?
See, I'm basing this on acting, so I'm going to take a chance and say Kurt Russell.
Got it. Kurt Russell.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Now, this is going to be the interesting one.
How old is Kurt Russell?
Kurt
I'd like
Russell
to hear
is
the
66.
ages. 66.
And
Okay,
Liam
I was
Neeson
thinking
is
68.
65.
Okay, all right. Oh, that was close, though.
You were
very
yeah,
close.
very close. Now,
All right.
Dan, who's older for your last question? John Bon Jovi or James Hetfield?
That's only by a couple of years, I think. I would guess John Bon Jovi.
By 1 year. You got
I would have to.
all except one, G.
I tried, man. I tried. Either that. I can't be this smart, Steve. So I'm thinking that
No,
you just got
you're
your.
no.
You're establishing my level of knowledge, like when it comes to entertainment, things like that.
I am.
So these are not bad questions at all.
But you're killing it.
But I'm surprised I'm getting these actually.
Now, this is the last one. See, if everybody doesn't know, he's a music connoisseur. So this one he should get 5 out of 5.
Uh-oh. You start hitting me with shit like Pony, though, and it's all
Not
over.
even close. We're going to do easy ones. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Dan, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
What came first, Dan? Motown Philly or Belle Biv DeVoe's Poison?
Poison.
Dude, 1 out of 1. Killing it.
You know why? You know why? Because they say Boys to Men, ABC, DVD. Yeah. So I wouldn't have known that. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dan,
I had to think it out for a second. Go ahead.
what came first? Vanilla Ice's Ice Ice Baby or Metallica's Inner Sandman?
Ice Baby.
Dude, come on. 2 out of 2. What are we talking about right now?
That was easy. That was an easy one.
Was it?
Yeah, because somehow they were putting that shit on Yo MTV Raps back in the day.
They were.
And I remember being out of that phase and driving to Tijuana.
Oh,
And I was driving to Tijuana, and KROQ played that album in its entirety. So I would have been too young to go to TJ at that time, if that makes any sense. I was older. It just makes sense to me. So it doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense to you people. It's me we're talking about right now.
Gee, that's 2 out of 2.
Thank you.
So tell me this then, Dan. What came first? Alanis Morissette's Ironic or Foo Fighters' Monkey Wrench?
That would be ironic because, am I right?
Yes, you are right.
Yeah, because Monkey Wrench came off the second album of the Foo Fighters, The Color and the Shape, which eventually, which you're going to find out why if you watch the movie like you said you're going to, Taylor Hawkins he toured with that album. He didn't play on it, but that's like where he kind of came up and like, hey, I'm Taylor Hawkins from Foo Fighters. He was originally the drummer for Alanis Morissette.
Dude, you know how many different things your brain has to process in those seconds? That's incredible.
I don't even know what I got these headphones on. I can't even hear if I'm making like if I'm talking too fast or whatever.
Crazy.
But yeah, I had to run that whole timeline in my head.
That is
But
crazy.
yeah, thank you, sir. Thank you.
All right, Dan, for our last question. What came first? Nirvana's Smells Like Teen Spirit or Dre and Snoop's Nothing But a G-Thing?
That would be Smells Like Teen Spirit, 1990.
1
No, well, is it one? 1991?
Yes.
I seem to okay, I must be off a year, but I saw that tour.
But you still won. You got 4 out of 4, dude.
I'm the shit. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just kidding.
No.
I'm joking.
You are and the thing is, those are hard questions, and you still got them. Those aren't even things that I would mess around with. I think you might have beat some of our listeners. Listeners, if he beats you, please let us know. But if you beat him, also let us know, because I think you guys might have gotten a head up on the logic section. So make sure you let us know how well you did. Can you beat Dan?
Clearly, I'm not a logical person.
You totally
That's the part I really screwed up.
You totally are, dude.
But yeah, okay. See, doing the whole timeline thing again, I was off. I was off by 1 year, but I remember I went to see my lady, who I'm married to, the day I was leaving to go see Nirvana. But we got together in 90, which means, yes, 91 would make it the right year. So we're good. We're good. All right.
So did you have to think about it, or did you know Nothing But a G thing? That was later.
Oh, I just knew.
Dude, that's crazy. You are really, I really am excited for how smart you are, brother. I'm telling you, everybody, watch out, because this dude is a monster on these quizzes. And
when did Nothing But a G thing come out? Was it 92?
92.
92, yeah. Okay. All right.
Dude, you killed it. That's it. You killed it, man.
That's it? But what, okay, so we do the Dangitude and Longitude just for the hell of it?
I can save it for another, because one day you're going to have to pick that as one, because I'll just make harder themes so that you're like, dang, I guess because I'm always going to do music. Iron Maiden's coming back, and it's coming back with a vengeance. Iron Maiden's coming back with that was really good that you were able to pull quote that. Because even people that like them, they'll get that wrong because they just thought it was a different song.
I don't know if you heard me, but I was like singing the lyrics. I had to like place it into my head, even though it's it's like one of their most famous. Yeah, Run to the Hills is one of their most famous songs. So they still play it today.
You literally just rattled it off. Run to the Hills. Run to the Hills. What was the hardest section for you was what? Logic?
Probably the logic one. But I think that I was just trying to go too fast. I'm not like saying, oh, I would have gotten it, but because you totally jacked me on that stupid whole question. but no, man, I think it was I start panicking when there's like a time limit. I do. I have this internal panic that kicks in. I would be really shitty on a game show.
Which is weird because what you do for a living is timing. You're timing. You're timed out. Your time and the time runs out, right?
Kind of, but it's not answering questions. Do you know what I mean? It's not going to be like if I go a little bit longer, whereas you lose if you go too long on this one.
Dude, you did such a good. Give this man a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Dude, you did a really good job. And unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of our wonderful show. And we're going to hit you
already?
Already, man.
Wow. Actually, that's really good timing because it's almost time for me to go to work. But this one did not. This one seemed to fly by.
It was fun, dude. And
I had a good time.
Now, mind you, I'm a very big game person, so you just made my day doing the games. Like, I am going to be thinking about this all day because and mind you, ladies and gentlemen, I kind of have to twist Dan's arm to do the games. Because I know he's more of a person that likes to do other things, like stick up for Johnny Depp, stuff around that thing.
Wow.
So,
wow. You just raised me up and then you fucking shot me down, man.
No, I had a great time, man.
The guy loves domestic abuse. He's partial to kidnapping children. He's fucking. You just scarred me right there. You didn't even let me enjoy my little victory lap right there. You tripped me on my victory lap.
And out of curiosity, Dan, what themes would you like me to challenge you on next time? Is there anything?
I don't want to know.
You don't even want to know?
I don't want to know. No, please. It's more fun that way.
I can't believe you got you.
I think that you should challenge me some more with, let's see. Okay, I got one.
Go.
80s movie trivia.
Oh, you don't want that.
I do want that.
Wait,
very much so.
And the thing is,
if I'm asked, if you're pressing me for, information like that, I would definitely say 80s movie trivia. Music's always going to be good.
Is Metallica your favorite group of all time, or is Foo Fighters?
If I had to pick one, who would be my favorite group of all time? Metallica is not it, no.
Oh, wow.
I'm still on a 2-week high from the Foo Fighters, but you know what? I'm going to take that back. They are becoming one of my favorite. They have been one of my favorite groups. I was like, they're not my favorite, but fuck, they're so good. They really are. I don't like all of their songs, but they're just great. Gonna have to go with right now. I'm gonna have to go. Oh man, dude, I can't answer that question. See, that's a quiz. That's a good quiz question right there, because I don't know. I would have to put it up there with, let's see, probably the Foo Fighters right now, even though I'm on a high. Coheed and Cambria, of course, Iron Maiden, but then I go into like Tribe Called Quest.
Well, the thing is, I was thinking rock, because I might go ahead and do a Coheed
rock.
and Cambria quiz for you next time.
Let's do that.
Done
You'll probably
deal.
get me. I don't think that I know as much as I think I do about them, but you might get me on there depending on how deep you dig.
What did you say the mascot's name for Iron Maiden was?
Eddie.
Did you know the technical name for him?
His last name too, you mean?
No, like the full actual name of him.
No, I would have gotten this one wrong.
No.
Maybe I do, but I'm not thinking of it.
It's Eddie the Head.
Eddie the Head. I wonder if that's how it started, and then it just became Eddie.
And the funny thing is, I've seen him before. And I was like, I don't even like Iron Maiden. How do I know that guy? I have seen him.
Because he's iconic. I mean, you went into record stores back in the day. When they had vinyl, they came correct with their album covers. They have always had.
Well,
They got
people
this
that
artist
didn't even
named
listen to
Derek
their
Riggs.
albums at my school had their shirt. And I know they didn't listen to the albums.
No, there's a lot of people that wear them to be like, you'll see like I don't know, I'm throwing someone out, like Lindsay Lohan or some shit wearing one. You know what I mean? It's more of like it's kind of like a stylish thing to do as opposed to actually being into the band.
Well, see,
I think even what's his face had one. Bieber had an Iron Maiden shirt on. But you know who's a real Iron Maiden fan?
Who's that?
I give her respect. Lady Gaga. She's like a real deal Iron Maiden fan.
Oh, no joke.
Yeah, she is.
Well,
Much respect.
Here's how old I am. So we got to get out of here. Here's how old I am. I'm old enough to remember when people used to get Iron Maiden shirts and rip off the sleeves.
I was one of those dudes.
Oh, dear Lord.
My parents would get so pissed off at me.
Were you?
I'd beg them to get me a shirt. It was always Metallica shirts. Yeah, because, when I was growing up and just listening to all that metal, you would look through the magazines. I remember what was it? It was like a Hit Parade and Kerrang and Revolver, but Revolver was a little bit newer. Anyway, sorry, I digress. That was like the thing, especially James Hetfield. He would always cut the sleeves off of his shirt. I wanted to be fucking James Hetfield in 1987, dude. Like, there was no cooler person on the planet than James Hetfield.
Oh, by the way, he's a huge part of this documentary. What's his name? Jason
Newsted?
He's a massive part of this documentary. Not massive, a big part, because he, real quick, I know we got to go, but he bonded with another guitarist that took over for Randy Rhoads. And he's like, I had to deal with the same thing, so I could kind of coach him into, hey, this is what I had to do, because I came in right after someone died in Metallica and everyone hated me. So
who was that guitar player? Was it Jakey Lee?
For Metallica?
No, for the one that took over for Randy Rhoads.
Oh, yeah, I forgot his name. I just remember him saying...
Or Brad Gillis?
He was like, I was hated because he took over immediately for on Ozzy's tour. Immediately.
They showed him?
Yes.
Was he a white guy?
Yes.
Yeah, that was Brad Gillis.
And he was like, people would come and fold their arms at concerts and not talk, and just like fold their arms, not saying anything, held up signs saying, we want Randy, we rest in peace Randy. And they're like, they hated me. And Newsted was the one that called and was like, look, dude, apparently Metallica's old. He was like the dude, right? I guess.
Cliff Burton? Yeah,
I don't know who that was. He's like, he was the man on the bass. And I had to go with Metallica. Everyone hated me. And they're like, so we were kind of bonded over that situation where they both had to go through the same thing. So it was a really fun looking at they showed a bunch of Metallica old pictures. I'm like, Jesus, 1984 they were doing this? Jeez.
Yeah, they've been around a long time.
I did not know that. But do you want to give our contact information before we get up out of here?
Yeah, but hold on real quick. Getting back to that documentary. Who was it that was talking smack on Toto?
One of the newspaper articles. They said Quincy Jones.
Fuck them, Steve.
I know.
Because Toto's the shit. And
people hate Toto, dude.
No, I bless their rains down in Africa, son.
But do you know that they were the group that proved that session musicians can actually do good music together? Like, they're all phenomenal musicians, dude. Phenomenal. And then they put together in my opinion, one of the best 80s songs ever in Africa. It's almost perfect. And
I feel sorry for Superfandra today because it's all about Toto Pandora.
Dude, but a good shout out to my girl Sandra. What's up? But yeah, it's you're gonna love this. You're gonna love it because you're gonna be like, again, Lukather said he heard Beat It. He walked out of the studio and said, that song sucks. It's gonna go nowhere. I'm glad I played on it. He said, if this is a hit, I will run down the street naked. He said, good thing no one called me on that. Turned out to be the biggest thing in the history because everyone said, like, a bunch of the rockers were like, we were number one in the 80s. He said, of course, there's only one album they all mentioned saying, well, second to that one. It's always Thriller. They're like, well, second to Thriller. But they're like, Thriller took over the 80s. It was like Thriller takeover.
Was a beast.
It was a beast that no one could knock out of number. They're like, well, Thriller it took over the 80s pretty much. It was just.
It's still 100% listenable all the way through.
Gee, when it starts off with ish, 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 you're like, oh, it's ready. Right off the jump, it's ready to shake and bake. It's such a dope. Anyway, I want to ask you a question. Maybe it's going to be
Thriller radio
for next weekend. I want to ask you a question for next weekend. And my question's going to. I really want to talk about. Oh, it's going to take. We might have to do a special session. Because I want to talk about why people hate that when Metallica got popular, why the hate came. Because I don't understand how someone could say Enter Sandman's not an amazing song. And my boy at work just is like, I hate the whole album. I'm like,
I could definitely give you some insight on
so
that.
Please,
and
yes.
Strong opinions.
Yes.
But Steve, next week is very important to me because that is when The Last Jedi comes out. So I'm hoping that you're going to be watching it, brother. If you're not going to make it, I have plan B. Actually, my plan B was incorporated into plan A anyway. I was hoping, guys, that we could have my good buddy Mike on the show. We're going to talk some Star Wars. I would love Steve to be a part of this here, but I know he's got a bit of a tight schedule next week. So
yes,
it's going to happen.
It might be which is going to be fun. It might be a solo Dan and Mike one-off, and I can't wait to listen. I cannot.
You know what we could do, though?
What's that?
What we could do is I could record that portion and then just tack it into our show that we do.
Either
and then
way,
we can still do the full hero show. I mean, you know what I mean?
For sure. We'll figure it out during the week. I know that you got you have a hospital to run, CEO. So you want to give the contact information?
Ladies and gentlemen, our listeners, our faithful Heroes of Noise listeners, if you want to reach us, you can reach us by email at heroesofnoisepodcast@gmail.com. You can reach us on Twitter at Heroes of Noise. You can reach myself, Dan, at DanQPublic. And of course, as I always say, you can reach my friend Steve Hudson at SE_Hudson Music. Hit us up on voicemail, 559-492-9831. You'll be calling Fresno, California, but no one will hold it against you. I promise you that. And other than that, I look forward to seeing you lovely people or hearing you lovely people or talking to you lovely people, whatever the fuck podcasters do. That's what I look forward to doing with you all next week. Steve, take it over. We're going to give our last few words here, and we're out for the week, sir.
People, enjoy your weekend. Have fun. Have all the fun in the world before Christmas. And until then, I am your host, Steve.
My name is Dan Ramirez, and together we are the Heroes of Noise. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to another show. We'll be back next week. We love you all. Peace.
Heroes of Noise.